This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung reporting. Good evening. Pro-Iranian extremists today said they would free American hostage Joseph Sicipio if Israel releases kidnapped Hezbollah leader Sheikh Obaid and 450 Palestinian and Lebanese prisoners. But Israel says it will not free Obaid unless 3 Israeli soldiers are included in the swap. It was a day of new statements and threats from several sides in the hostage crisis. Alan Pizzi starts our coverage in Damascus.
The statement offering to free kidnapped American Joseph Sicipio was accompanied by a photo of another American hostage, Edward Tracy, and a list of demands. They included the return to Lebanon of a Shiite Muslim cleric kidnapped by Israel, the release of 450 Arab prisoners in Israel, an end to Israel's policy of deporting Palestinians from the occupied territories, and the return of persons already deported. No mention was made, however, of the 3 Israeli soldiers. The statement paid tribute to what it termed Syrian diplomatic efforts to end the hostage crisis and appealed for negotiation through international organizations. The demands will almost certainly be seen as unrealistic. Sources close to Iran here speculate that it may be an attempt to drive a wedge between the U.S. and Israel and separate the issue of Western hostages from attempts by Israel to get back 2 soldiers and an airman held by the Hezbollah movement. Hezbollah leader Hussein Moussaoui said today that his group was ready to kill an Israeli prisoner if Israel did not return to kidnap Sheikh Abdul Karim Obaid. And in Beirut, another Hezbollah spokesman denied the movement was holding any Western hostages. The new development came just as the hostage crisis looked like it was settling down to a period of protracted and quiet diplomacy. Just before the offer to free Sicipio was made, UN Under-Secretary Merrick Goulding was voicing optimism.
I've encountered a feeling that certain things have changed for the better and that conditions now are perhaps more conducive to a negotiation or to a settlement of this problem.
The latest offer probably hasn't changed the atmosphere much, but it does complicate the issue. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Damascus.
Israeli Defense Minister Yitzhak Rabin today said not to expect an early release of U.S. hostages. With more on Israel's position, Bob Simon in Tel Aviv.
Israeli forces remain on a state of alert along Israel's border with Lebanon tonight. Sources say this is partly in response to the suggestion made by a pro-Iranian militia today that one of the Israeli prisoners in Lebanon could be killed. Since Israel cannot even threaten to kill its prime hostage, Sheikh Obaid, all it can do is show muscle and let Hezbollah know that any rash action would have severe consequences. After today's cabinet session, Israeli ministers said they did not take the various Hezbollah statements all that seriously. They suggested that the militias were staking out their positions before the real bargaining begins, and they ruled out any exchange which would not include the Israeli soldiers.
Of course, no one can think of an exchange without the Israeli hostages. It will have to include the Israeli hostages, and I think that it can be done.
Israelis say they're not worried about being dealt out of the game because they hold all the cards, including what may be an ace in the hole.
Sheikh Obaid is definitely a person of some importance amongst those band of criminals, and so therefore we seem to be holding an important card.
A crisis team headed by Deputy Foreign Minister Netanyahu meets every few hours in Jerusalem, but Israelis who've been down this road before warn that it's not a question of hours, that the story has just begun.
It might take 1 month or 1 year. Whoever hasn't got the nerves and the patience will not achieve any results.
Israelis are saying that cooperation with the Americans has gone beyond the political tonight. They say there is an enormous amount of American military air traffic in the eastern Mediterranean right now, and that it is being coordinated with the Israelis. Connie?
Bob, why is Sheikh Obaid considered valuable to the Israelis?
He's valuable as a bargaining card. That's why they took him. That's why they're holding him. And they've been strategically leaking information over the last few days to increase his value, to indicate that they have a very high card. They've been indicating that he knows an awful lot and that he's talking. They've revealed, for example, the names of the people who met at the Sheikh's home and planned the kidnapping of Colonel Higgins. They even revealed the makes of the cars, 2 Volvos and a Mercedes. All this designed to make Hezbollah fearful that the Sheikh knows a lot and that he is spilling the beans.
But the Hezbollah believe that he is they're trying to make one believe that he's a low-level card.
That's right. Hezbollah is countering with their hand, which says that, hey, you guys, you Israelis, your hand isn't as good as you think it is. We don't think he's important.
Thank you. Bob Simon in Tel Aviv. U.S. officials are not commenting on the latest exchange of offers and threats. President Bush, who spent the weekend at Camp David, is back in Washington, and White House correspondent Jacqueline Adams is there.
At the White House, President Bush brushed aside questions about the latest terrorist offer to swap hostage Joseph Scipio for Sheikh Obaid and 450 Arab prisoners in Israel. Instead, he's sticking with last week's two-track strategy. On the military side, the 6th Fleet remains off the coast of Lebanon. The carrier America and its support vessels are still approaching Iran. And congressional leaders, after consulting with the White House, confirmed that force remains a live option.
Were another American to be executed, that is, had Scipio been killed or were he to be killed, that might be sufficient to trigger an American military response.
Sending some of our forces into the region, both near Lebanon and Iran, is precisely the right message.
On the diplomatic side, though, the pot is boiling.
The fact is the bazaar is open and the various parties are talking about offers, counter-proposals. So I wouldn't take too seriously rejection of negotiations.
Connie, there is a sense here tonight that the Pentagon under the Bush administration is a lot more gung-ho about a retaliatory strike than the Reagan Pentagon ever was. For one thing, Colonel Rich Higgins was widely known and extremely popular here. And for another, President Bush, like Higgins, was a military officer, and as such feels a special obligation to him.
A Soviet official confirmed today that Moscow has joined in the diplomatic flurry to solve the hostage dilemma. Soviet involvement came at the request of the U.S. In Lebanon, the hostages are almost secondary as fierce fighting involving Christian forces and Syrian and Muslim troops rages on. 5 people were killed. Martha Teichner in London has more.
A break in the hostage crisis has not meant a break in the shelling that once again rocked Beirut overnight. With the failure of every attempt at a ceasefire, a sinister change has come to Beirut. People are leaving. A hemorrhage of humanity is draining the city of what little life is left there. Its refugees would rather walk away with nothing than stay. This city, once called the Paris of the Middle East, with a population of 1.5 million, now has only 250,000 people left. The war that couldn't possibly get worse has.
Syrian shelling is also continuing, and more lethally, of course.
This latest round of killing and destruction began in March. Since then, more than 500 people have been killed, more than 2,000 wounded, in shelling the fury of which even Beirut has not known before. Lebanon's Christian leader, General Michel Aoun, declared the most recent fighting a war of liberation against an occupying force of 40,000 Syrian troops. In the tangled web of factional alliances in Lebanon, the Christians have the Iraqis on their side. Syria and Iran back Lebanon's Shiite Muslims. Notably absent from the conflict, the United States and other Western powers, who remember only too well the price of intervention, incidents like the car bomb that killed more than 200 U.S. Marines in 1983.
Very few Western countries want to get themselves involved in the quagmire of Lebanon. Lebanon has received many attempts at a solution. Both internal attempts, external, international, multilateral, none of them have worked.
Day-to-day existence in Beirut has been reduced to bare survival. Families live in makeshift shelters underground. Gone is the resilience that has seen the people of Beirut through 14 years of war. They are finally giving up, packing their cars and going, risking their lives to leave any way they can, convinced at last there is no longer any point in staying. Martha Teichner, CBS News, London.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, phone company workers on the line. And later on Inside Sunday, baseball and Pete Rose, the national pastime and a national obsession.
Compaq is the leader in performance and intelligent innovation.
Martin, we've got an hour tops. Make or break.
Hey, it's made.
Compaq has gone the extra mile for today's power-hungry users.
Give me next quarter's figures. Yes.
Compaq has consistently shown engineering excellence.
10 minutes to spare. That's hardly even exciting, Martin.
Speak for yourself.
In the mountains of Colombia, they celebrate the land for creating the richest coffee in the world. New Maxwell House Colombian Supreme Coffee. 100% Colombian richness in every drop.
Why can't they make a stronger flea collar?
Someone has. Scratch X. Look, compared to Hearts and Sergeants, Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas. Compare. All these collars kill fleas, but Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas, since it's government approved to work twice as long.
Yet Scratch X is safe for 3-month-old pets.
Remember, compared to Hearts and Sergeants' 5-month collars, the Scratch X 11-month collar has the power to kill twice as many fleas.
Now a great cherry taste comes to Maalox Strength. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets with the medicine doctors recommend most and a cherry taste you'll love. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets. Strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
Workers at phone companies in the Northeast and Far West are on strike tonight. Victoria Corderi reports on the contract hang-up and the impact on the dialing public.
No talk, we walk. No talk, we walk.
At midnight, telephone workers in Boston abandoned their post and headed for their picket signs.
Hold the line in 89. What do we want? Contract! When do we want it? Now!
By morning, more than 150,000 workers at 3 regional telephone companies joined the strike, affecting millions of customers. Managers are now taking operator and information calls.
Please hold for the number.
It may take a little bit longer to complete the call, but it will be done.
Due to a work stoppage, we are unable to provide normal directory assistance service.
That's the recording customers will hear when they call information. In addition, the walkout affects telephone service and repairs. At the heart of the strike is a refusal by the union to pay for part of its health benefits.
Shifting the cost of the health care benefits from thriving employers to rank-and-file workers is simply a sick idea.
Employees are striking 3 regional telephone companies known as Baby Bells, NYNEX, Pacific Telesis, and Bell Atlantic. They were created after the 1984 breakup of AT&T and service 14 states in the East and Far West. Contracts with 3 other Baby Bell companies expire next Saturday, which could affect phone service in 24 more states. The only bright spot in the labor dispute occurred in Atlanta, where employees set to strike reached a tentative agreement with Bell South.
This is the first strike since the breakup of AT&T 5 years ago. But since phone service is so automated, it's unclear consumers will even notice. Victoria Corderi, CBS News, New York.
Dentists warn the #1 dental problem isn't cavities, it isn't tartar, it's plaque. And most people just don't brush well enough to get enough plaque off their teeth. That's why there's Plaques, the dental rinse specifically designed to remove plaque.
It's your 30th birthday, girl. Is it hard to face the world? But there's Folgers to brew that's decaffeinated too. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Mornings brighten with Mountain Grown Folgers decaffeinated. Mountain Grown beans have a more enticing aroma and richer flavor.
No need to feel so blue. That aroma's calling you.
You are finally waking up.
The best part of waking up is decaffeinated. It's Folgers in your cup.
You know, 30's not so bad.
Yeah, we're maturing.
Only Red Lobster could create an event this big. Lobster Fest 89. Lobster choices like nowhere else, starting at just $7.95. Get ready to savor sweet rock lobster or luscious Maine lobster. New platters like lobster and crab. Great lobster dishes starting at just $7.95. Kids dinner $1.95. Don't miss Lobster Fest now at Red Lobster. Friday through Sunday, it's our weekend special. Steak and shrimp just $10.95.
The anniversary of the world's first atomic attack 44 years ago was marked today in Hiroshima, Japan. 55,000 people listened in silence as a bell tolled to mark the moment of the U.S. attack. More than 1,000 doves symbolizing peace were released into the sky. Thousands of protesters in this country marked the anniversary by demonstrating at a controversial nuclear weapons plant in Colorado. Jerry Bowen tells us what the dispute is all about.
Today's protest against the Rocky Flats weapons plant is less about the dangers of nuclear war than the potential danger to nearby residents posed by nuclear waste, stored or escaping from the sprawling Colorado complex.
Every day that I ride by the plant with my bicycle, I wonder if I'm inhaling any plutonium or any radioactivity.
Many people are concerned for themselves, for their children, and skeptical of government promises to protect them and the environment.
We want to clean it up once and for all in sight, and we think we can do that.
The federal government is in general, I think, in a catch-22 that they're not supposed to have it, they're not supposed to be producing more, and there's nowhere to go with it.
Nowhere to go with the chemical waste, and soon nowhere for the radioactive waste from the plutonium used to make the triggers in nuclear bombs. Idaho's dump site will be closed at the end of the month.
On September the 1st, we said that they would close for any more additional shipments. Ladies and gentlemen, they will be closed.
So Rocky Flats faces closure, and each day presents contradictions. Some people closest to the plant are blissfully unconcerned.
If I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Town leaders miles downwind can't wait for it to be shut down.
We've passed resolution after resolution after resolution that says make it safe, clean it up, give us information, shut it down, everything we can think of, and those resolutions have had no impact at all.
And each day, Rocky Flats turns out more triggers for nuclear bombs and more nuclear waste that soon will have no place to go. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Bermuda today was struck a glancing blow by Hurricane Dean. At its closest point, Dean knocked out power on the resort island with winds gusting up to 113 miles an hour. Damage was minimal and no injuries reported. Hurricane Emily 2 years ago caused $60 million damage.
How's Mama doing? She okay?
Yeah! It's already happening. People calling long distance with 1 free month of U.S. Sprint.
The market is open. Go coast to coast with it. It's midnight here. We're just shutting down.
Call Sprint now. Get 1 free month plus the best savings versus AT&T. This is one offer that seems to be catching on.
When the burning, itching, and soreness of hemorrhoids flare up, Tux medicated pads give you soothing, cooling relief on contact. For hemorrhoid flare-up, get Tux from Park Davis.
To my beautiful wife.
It's nice to know he still loves the way you look. And if you wear dentures, you can count on Effordent to freshen up dentures and clean away stains so well. With Effordent, all he'll notice is you.
What's in a name? The Kemper name means the security of solid insurance protection for your life, home, business, and auto, even reinsurance protection. But Kemper's more than insurance. It's Kemper financial products, like mutual funds, annuities, and money market funds, working to bring you better tomorrows, insurance and investments. Ask for them by name. Kemper.
Secretary of State James Baker and 3 other cabinet members flew to Mexico City today for top-level talks. They will discuss ways to improve economic cooperation and to build on last month's landmark Mexican foreign debt agreement negotiated with U.S. help. 5 Central American presidents agreed today at their peace summit in Honduras to disband the U.S.-backed Nicaraguan Contra rebels. But Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega is opposed to proposals that the Contra disbandment be linked to peace talks in El Salvador. Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze made an unannounced visit to Kabul today. As he met with Afghan President Najibullah, rebel rockets killed at least 9 people. Predictions that the Afghan army would collapse when Soviet troops pulled out aren't heard much anymore. Anthony Mason in London reports.
They were never impressive to look at, but Afghan soldiers have proved far more fierce than any Western experts expected. For months now, they've held government strongholds without Soviet help and left the Mujahideen guerrillas so demoralized that some groups are turning their guns on each other. A guerrilla army ambushed and killed 30 members of a rival faction last month. And outside Jalalabad recently, British cameraman Rory Peck, who took these pictures, was traveling with one group of guerrillas when he was captured by another. and subjected to a game of Russian roulette.
And he cocked his weapon and pointed at me and started to pull the trigger. I was watching and I thought, God, this must be it. Then I heard this explosion, but I was still there.
The guerrillas' internal skirmishes are raising doubts about their ability to win and giving valuable propaganda ammunition to Afghanistan's Soviet-backed president.
They are extremists, fundamentalists, and fanatics.
It's Najibullah who now sounds more and more the peacemaker, using words like pluralism and democracy. He's offered guerrilla commanders a place in a coalition government if they'll lay down their guns. The longer his army holds on, the more appealing his offer appears. While the fighting continues, Soviet families are trying to pick up the pieces. A group of parents visited Pakistan recently to ask for the release of Soviet prisoners. They knew what the war had done to their children. They were shown what the war has done to the Afghans. Anthony Mason, CBS News, London.
Now, new scientific tests prove Heart's Blockade Repellent gives your pet total protection against fleas and ticks, or your money back. Unsolicited, here's what some satisfied Blockade users have told us.
I've never seen my dog free of ticks, even though I've used expensive dips, until I used Blockade. Now I recommend it to everyone.
I've tried many brands of flea and tick products for my dog, and Heart's Blockade is by far the best product I've purchased. I will continue to use it because the product is great.
Heart's Blockade, guaranteed flea and tick protection that really works.
Not this much, not this much, just this much. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate works fast to relieve diarrhea and cramps, and it tastes better too. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate, more than ever, the diarrhea specialist.
There's an enemy in your car's engine, heat. That's why you need the special quality of Pennzoil motor oil. Pennzoil has superior breakdown resistance to protect your engine. Conquer the enemy heat with the world-class protection of Pennzoil.
Compaq has consistently led the industry with products that incorporate the latest technology.
Miss Lucas, it's time to board.
You have time for this?
I have time.
The Compaq laptop pushes the state-of-the-art.
Now that's neat.
It's my secret weapon.
Compaq understands what its customers want.
Welcome to New York. How was the flight?
I can't wait to show you.
Pete Rose is making off-field news again. There are more court proceedings this week, and today, new details of his alleged gambling. On Inside Sunday, we look tonight at baseball and the cloud hanging over the game. Tomorrow, attorneys for Pete Rose are expected to be back in court, this time to appeal last week's decision that Rose's lawsuit against the Commissioner of Baseball belongs in federal court. Months of legal maneuvering and little progress has prompted Commissioner Bart Giamatti to invite alternative solutions.
I will always listen to anything that's realistic and reasonable. There's only one non-negotiable item as far as I'm concerned, and that is my authority.
But this is a case that has a life of its own. In September's issue of Penthouse magazine, out Tuesday, one of Rose's chief accusers, bodybuilder Paul Jansen, continues the cascade of accusations about Rose's baseball betting habits. Quote, Pete said betting on the Reds made it more interesting. And Jansen also quotes Rose as saying, Paulie, what would there be in life without gambling? What would people do for fun? If Rose is found guilty of betting on his own team, he faces banishment from baseball for life.
Autographed baseballs, autographed by everybody, even Pete Rose.
Baseball has taken a back seat to the Pete Rose story in Cincinnati, where the Reds have slipped to 4th place, and some fans are getting tired of hearing about Rose's problems.
There's an undercurrent of resentment present in this community that this has gone on this long, that Pete is in essence twisting the moral fiber of baseball by continuing this.
Whatever direction the case takes, experts say a verdict may not be reached until 1990. But some observers say the verdict on Rose's reputation is already in.
This is the death of a god. To see him stripped of much of his
glory and dignity over something that does not relate to the winning or losing of ball games, we should hope, is sad. It's almost tragic.
If the Rose case is a tragedy, it is one baseball will certainly survive. The game has endured for more than a century. Today alone, millions of us were either watching it or playing it. Correspondent Bruce Morton looks at America's love affair with baseball.
Frederick Keyes versus Prince William Cannons, Class A Carolina League. Dreams live here.
I can honestly remember being about 6 or 7 years old, and my parents would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a professional baseball player."
The dream is generations old.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Author David Halberstam remembers another Yankee, Joe DiMaggio, injured, hurting at the end of his career.
DiMaggio, who never talks and never really celebrates, very controlled, turns to Jerry Coleman, the rookie second baseman, and says, "Kid, sometimes you just can't beat the life."
The game links generations, links sons to their fathers.
Baseball was something I could play with him, and also I could talk with him and be taken reasonably seriously. It was a portal to the world of men.
The game links sons to fathers, players to coaches, as inherited wisdom passes down the generations.
Get a good turn with the front side. Throw the ball out in front of your face.
Baseball is full of lore, of wisdom, of details that win or lose, the pitcher must cover first on this play. It's American because it has few limits, lots of room for hope. The clock can't beat you because there is no clock.
The field has no boundary. Boy playing in the cornfield, the boundary is the horizon. So it's a game without a time limit or without a limit to the field.
It is a game of hope every spring.
Coming back for old midday, and everybody's saying, "Boy, watch the Cubs this year," and the expectations are high. Yes, I've missed a lot of that.
It is a game of patience, long quiet periods, bursts of fire.
Mickey Hatcher, a two-run home run.
It is so much a part of our character that our novelists write about it, our movie makers try to capture what makes it what it is.
You wouldn't believe how many guys wanted to play here. We had to beat them off with a stick.
Sure, we'd believe it. Didn't most of us want to be out there too?
It's gone! A two-run home run for Jack Voigt.
Jack Voigt, 23, in this moment, living the dream.
I'm going to keep playing baseball until everybody else in this whole baseball world tells me I can't play anymore. And when they say that, then I'll start asking for coaching jobs because I still want to be around the game.
It's a line of E.E. Cummings. When the sky is so blue, things sing themselves. Baseball at its best to me is so beautiful. I would just like to let it sing itself.
Where the Frederick Key? Come out, support the team.
Bruce Morton, CBS News, Chicago.
And that's our news. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow night, and Bill Plant later tonight with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Connie Chung in New York. I'll see you again next Sunday night. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan. Tomorrow, how the U.S. can resolve the hostage stalemate.
Also this week, 30-something's Melanie Mayron. And at home with Leslie Caron on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.